Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, it's about 6:21 in the morning on this Saturday. I'm up early because I rested, big time last night. After a while, um, I got up and took a shower because I had a bit of a headache too, so I took some Advil. And well, I've been up since then, since a little before 5:30 or something like that. Um, Well, actually, it was a little before 5 or a little after 5, to be exact. But yeah, it's about 6:22 now in the morning on this Saturday, um, May, I should say, 28th, May 28th, 2022, the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. But the reason I'm also here is because, as you see the title below, I'm here to give you my AEW Double or Nothing predictions. And I know a lot of people want to wait until Rampage, happened, which occurred last night to give full predictions. But a lot of people pretty much went with the predictions and then probably added to it later on, or at least kind of gave a thought process of what other matches they think would be added. But yeah, we have here the list in color. Believe it or not, it seems that. When I print from the phone, everything comes in color, but when I print from my laptop, there's a miscommunication or something. I don't really know. But anyway, yeah, I have the entire card here. In total, you're looking at 13 matches. One or two will be on the buy-in, while the others, I should say, will be on pay-per-view. Now, with that said, let's take a look at the 13 matches, starting with the buy-in match, which is Hookhausen, the team of Hook, Taz's son, and Danhausen, Hookhausen, the team of Hook and who is, like I say, Taz's son, and Danhausen. They would take on Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling, who I still feel is the Mark Sterling from CSW, Central States Wrestling. I could be wrong, but the name sounds familiar. The guy, he looks familiar. It's got to be him. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. If he's wearing identical tights to what I've seen in CSW, then yeah, that's going to be him. But we'll see. But yeah, it's a buy-in tag team match. That I see Hookhausen, excuse me there. Then I see Hookhausen, Hook and Downhausen winning, with Hook supplying his variation of the Taz mission, potentially on Mark Sterling to keep Tony Nese kind of strong still. So yeah, I expect for the buy-in show Hookhausen to win. And then we get into the pay-per-view match, or the official pay-per-view card, I should say. Although I believe this one might go into the buy-in, but we'll see. We have Kyle O'Reilly against Darby Allin. And this ought to be a good match. Kyle, of course, lost to Samoa Joe in the semifinals of the men's Owen Hart tournament. So Kyle obviously impressed enough to get a match against Darby. Again, this could be a buy-in show match, but the fact that not both, but Kyle's a recent signee to AEW over the past, I guess 6 months. I guess they're going to give him a singles match and go from there against Darby Allin. I don't know why Bobby Fish isn't in a match. And my assumption is because the word going around is Sting is injured. They don't know the severity of the injury, but he's injured enough to it's keeping him out. So my thought is, originally this was going to be a tag match with Red Dragon against Sting and Darby Allin, but now it's just going to be a singles match with Kyle O'Reilly and Darby Allin. This ought to be a good matchup. Buy-in show or on the pay-per-view, depending on the decision. This will be a good match. It'll be, from a kind of a contrast in styles, like, Kyle, stiff striker, if you will. Darby, of course, balls to the wall kind of individual. that contrast in styles is really going to give us what I would assume a surprise match of the night. I'm going to call it right now. It's going to be a surprise match of the night. And I do expect Darby Allin to go over here because Kyle, he's good. And, if you want to push him as a singles guy, this would be a great, match to win or to give him. But Darby, I think, he's just got too much momentum. He's too popular. And I think Tony Khan and his team are going to say, let's go with Darby and move on from there. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Darby Allin to beat Kyle O'Reilly on the pay-per-view or on the buy-in if it gets added there. Another match that is scheduled for the pay-per-view, although some people are suspicious that it's happening, is Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay for the TBS Championship. Now, the reason some people feel it's kind of weird that this is happening is it just came out of nowhere suddenly. But I think if you pay attention to the YouTube clips or if you watch Rampage period, it's been built up there for quite some time. Well, maybe not a long time, but for a decent amount of time to get him a match. So, yeah, I guess it pays to pay attention to Rampage. It pays to pay attention to Dark Elevation. So, yeah, I guess that's why this match is happening. Do I expect Jay to win? Yes, there's no doubt. This is just going to be another squash. Well, I wouldn't say it's going to be a squash, but it'll be just another filler defense for her because, let's be honest, what they are doing is they're trying to build Jade up. You think Jade, I won't say Jada there, but you think Jade going undefeated as long as she has, it's just something that they pulled out of the rear? No. This was something that and one thing people give AEW and Tony Khan credit for, and his crew credit for, is they plan out certain things. Like they plan out who they want to feature as the future of the company, like the legit faces of the company. And Jade Cargill is one of them. And her being undefeated, for this long, being the first TBS champion for this long, is proof of that. And what they're doing with her is they're building her towards that women's world title. And depending whether or not it's going to be Thunder Rosa or somebody else, like I've said before, I am looking at the fact that if she does lose that championship, that TBS championship, it'll be between this time frame and All Out. That's when I see it. I see it between Double or Nothing and All Out, her losing that championship. But then I look between All Out and what's the other one again? Full Gear. I look between All Out and Full Gear, and I look at that time frame between All Out and Full Gear of when Jade will become champion, mostly at Full Gear. So again, the way I believe they have it planned out is they're going to have her keep the belt until at least between, this time frame and All Out, mostly All Out, where she might drop it. And then between All Out and Full Gear, that is when they're going to, start putting the wheels really into motion and really going down that track full throttle, giving her the ball and allow her to run and score with it. And I think the intended goal is for Full Gear to be where she becomes the AEW World Champion, a Women's World Champion. That's the goal for Jade. That is the goal for Jade, in my opinion. That they want to build her up, give her this title, build her up, let her get better over time, let her get better in the ring with all her defenses and non-defenses and all that, as well as allow her to have time to train. But then, when the time is right, they're going to pull that trigger to have her drop the belt to whoever she drops it to. But that's going to be a positive because what it does, it allows them to pull that trigger to open the door to pull the trigger that allows them to push her to the Women's World title at Full Gear. So it's all part of a planning process. 2022 is going to end with Jade Cargill starting it as the first ever Women's TBS champion and ending it as the Women's World Champion, thus cementing herself from her AEW history standpoint as being the only woman to be the TBS champion and the Women's World Champion in the span of 1 year. That's the goal. Don't think that's not what they're planning, because it is. You don't have to watch AEW religiously or anything, to kind of see where they're going with Jade. So, as far as the match with Anna Jay goes, if it does happen, and because some people are still suspicious of it, Jade is winning. Jade is definitely winning. Now, to kind of entertain the fact of people feeling that there's something more to this than what's being let on, I'm going to say this. If it's not Anna Jay, and as some people are saying, she might get attacked and thus open the door for somebody else, and let's say it's Athena, then yeah, like I said, between this time frame and All Out is when I see her losing the title. And if it's Athena, the former Ember Moon, coming in as a surprise challenger to replace Anna Jay, and as soon as the lights go up, and she's on the top rope, and the bell rings, and Jade turns around and she gets hit with that eclipse, and Athena covers her 1, 2, 3, then yeah, not only do you put Athena over strong in her debut, as well as make her the second women's TBS champion, but you also, in extent, keep Jade strong. Because one, Jade obviously didn't know who it was, and basically, wasn't, tested as she should be with someone like Athena. And thus, with Athena doing the surprise, eclipse, shot on her, Athena, and winning the title, as crazy as it sounds, like I said, you keep Jade strong because, she didn't have an actual legit match, par for par with Athena. It was just lights go on, Athena, bell rings, Athena hits the eclipse, she wins, but you're still making Jade look strong because now Jade is going to want to prove herself against someone like Athena and potentially win back the title. And thus, even if she loses it again, after being a 2-time champion, it's still all part of the build-up, to get her the world title at Full Gear. So whether or not, this is a ruse and it's possibly Athena and not Anna Jay, it's still all part of the plan from what I could tell. But if it is just straight up Anna Jay and Jade, then definitely Jade's going over. And, I feel it's just, again, another stepping stone towards the women's championship with Jade. Again, she is going to lose the TBS title. That's the only way they're going to get the belt onto, on the women's world title onto her, is she's got to drop the belt. So I see that happening. But as far as this match being scheduled as it is, between her and Anna Jay, I'm going with Jade Cargill to go over. Then we have the House of Black versus Death Triangle. That's Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King against Pac, Penta El Cerro, and Rey Fenix in a 6-man trios match. A lot of people are projecting this to steal the show, be one of the matches of the night. I am not disagreeing with that. I will say that the two that I definitely keep an eye out as standouts in this match to really just, go balls to the wall crazy is Matthews and, Matthews and Phoenix. I expect that. I expect, Pac and, Malachi to get at it one-on-one with each other. And then, of course, Brody King and Penta El Cerro. I expect to have a fight. I mean, this is the kind of match that it's going to steal the show, but you can tell who's going to face off individually against each other, even in a trio brawl, if you will. But in the end, I have to go with the House of Black. And to me, when I look at Double or Nothing, I look at Double or Nothing as a night to help showcase some certain talents, to get certain talents over as this is who we're focusing on for this year and the foreseeable future. And as far as how this trios match goes, I think it's going to be to help put over Brody King. That's my assumption. Brody King, in my opinion, is going to be the standout in this match because they're going to focus on him being the powerhouse, being strong, and I'm assuming in the end he's going to be the one that helps them get the win. So I'm going with the House of Black, and this being, to win this trios match, and Brody King to have a standout performance, from a powerhouse perspective. Then we get another trios match, but it's a 6-man but it's a 6-person mixed trios match. It's America's Top Team: Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Paige Van Zant, with Dan Lambert against Sammy Guevara, Frankie Kazarian, and Ty Conte. This will be an interesting match. Basically, the stipulation is if America Top Team wins, then Sammy and Frankie cannot get another shot at the TNT Championship as long as Sky is champion, which kind of tells me that, I know people are saying, well, Sammy, Ty, and Frankie are going to get the win. No. Despite the fact that they're supposed to be the baby faces in this, they've kind of been like the antagonists. So I'm going to go with America's Top Team to win. And just like I said with Brody King in that other trios match, being, having that match used to be a standout performance for him from a powerhouse perspective, I see this match here as being the standout performance of Paige Van Zant. This is where Paige becomes AEW's answer to Ronda Rousey. That's what happens. This is where she becomes the AEW equivalent of Ronda Rousey, because I could see something happening during the match where Ty's getting a little cocky and everything, and maybe she slaps, or tries to playfully slap Paige, and suddenly that just wakes Paige up to the point where she tries to do it again. I could see Paige catching her arm like this, squeezing it, and then kind of doing what Ronda has done with a lot of the women in WWE, like an Alexa Bliss and a few others. She'll just give her this look, kind of like growl a little bit, and it's going to scare Ty. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Ty, like I said, she's going to get playfully confident with this girl, or cocky with her. It's going to wake a side of her up. And that's going to wake up the beast in her, start making her into the AEW equivalent of Ronda Rousey, to when she does it again, and Paige just stands up on her feet like, that's enough of your playful BS. And then she just gives her that look. I could see Ty kind of getting this look on her face like, oh crap, I'm in deep shit now, to the point that it'll cause her to, not only be caught off guard by this sudden transformation, but it will catch her into a situation that will allow Paige to put a submission on her. Ty will probably tap and everything, and Paige won't let go. Oh, and you would think, well, it's going to reverse it, but the way I see this happening, and it's just pictured in my mind, I see Paige, like I say, this match being used to make Paige into AEW's Ronda Rousey, where she starts kind of like doing what Ronda does when she gets pissed. She gets, that like, okay, enough of you, knock it off, I told you to stop. And then she gets that look on her face which scares everybody, basically makes every opponent she's faced realize, oh shit, I'm about to get my ass kicked. I expect Paige to do the same thing here. I expect Paige to do the same thing here. And what I expect is not only will she put the submission on Ty for the win, you'll make her tap out, but I've got a feeling Lambert's going to get on the mic and say, don't let go, I want to hear this from her. And then Lambert will be like, what is it? And I can see Lambert basically saying, I'm not, basically telling Ty and Sammy and Frankie, saying, I'm not going to have her let go until I hear her say she's sorry. And I could hear Ty basically going like, I'm sorry, and then Lambert's like, okay, but that's not good enough. What else? And I could hear Ty going like, we're sorry, and we'll leave you guys alone. We'll leave you alone. And that'll be it. So I expect America's Top Team to win. I expect this to be a standout performance for Paige Van Zant, thus making her the AEW equivalent of Ronda Rousey, where we're going to get that moment that we've seen in a lot of Ronda matches where she's just had enough, playtime's over. She does this, gives that look, that growl, frightens the opponent, puts them, and basically starts kicking their ass, puts them into submission. So, yeah, I see that. So I see that happening, but I also see as a bonus, Lambert, happy at the fact that they won, but then basically getting in the face and saying, I want to hear an apology from her. And then I could see maybe if they do it, Ty apologizing for them doing what they've done and that they promised to leave them alone. So yeah, I'm going with America's Top Team to win. The reason I also think, they're going to win is, one, this also kind of, is the origin start, hopefully, to a Kazarian-Guevara tag team. That's right. I think this is all being done to pair up Sammy Guevara and Frankie Kazarian as a tag team to go after the tag team titles in the future. And it also frees up Scorpio Sky to lose that TNT title later that week to a certain individual, and I'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, I'm going to go with, like I said, I'm going to go with America's Top Team to win this match. And like I said, I think it's going to be done because, I should say, it's going to, be a breakout, standout performance for Paige Van Zant. This is, like I said, this is going to be the match where she becomes the Ronda Rousey of AEW. Alright, next up we got the Hardys against the Young Bucks. This ought to be a great match. We've seen what the matches are like before in Ring of Honor and other places. This will be no different. They're trying to make it a little bit more personal. The question is exactly who do they go with, and I would say you have to go with the Hardys. I mean, I know people want the Bucks, and that's true. That would be a good decision to make, but I think the Hardys are probably the most likely choice. Because in storyline, what you could do, you could have the Hardys afterwards confront the Bucks and vice versa, and the Bucks could come out and acknowledge why they've acted this way, why they've imitated the Hardys, or why they chose the Hardys to imitate and everything, and take after and all that. And maybe they can, maybe in that post Double or Nothing confrontation on Dynamite or Rampage, say, look, we knew that if we just came out as the Young Bucks and nothing fancy, just ourselves, nobody would take us seriously. Or, if we grew up like you guys have, a certain senile, four-eyed old man, on his podcast would get what he wants. And that would be a reference to Jim Cornette. But, and there's a lot of different scenarios they could go with afterwards if they go with the Hardys to go over the Young Bucks. So, yeah, I think the Hardys are going to win, mostly because of the fact that Jeff just got here. So you don't want Jeff to really look too bad. I mean, yeah, he did lose to Adam Cole and everything, but, that was by nefarious means. So I expect them to redeem here, and I expect the Hardys to go over in a great match. And I think it's going to lead towards the Bucks doing a face turn and maybe realizing that, hey, we could still be the Young Bucks, we could still be Super Kick Party, but we need to grow up and take things seriously now. So that might be what happens, but I'm going to go with the Hardys in that matchup. Okay, so next one, we have a three-way tag team match for the AEW World Title, or World Tag Team titles, I should say. We have Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus against representatives of Team Taz, that's Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, against Keith Lee and Shane Swerve Strickland. A lot of people are saying this is going to be one of the bangers of the night. I am not disagreeing with that. I think it'll be a great matchup. I think all three teams will bring it. But the question is who comes out on top. And I think as much as I would like to say the team that has the most momentum right now, being Lee and Strickland, could be a good choice, I don't know. I think people would say the safe bet would be Jurassic Express because of the personal animosity between Strickland, Lee, Hobbs, and Starks, and that would cancel all four of them out. So everybody would say the likely scenario is Jurassic Express, because let's not forget, when Jurassic Express started to defend those belts against some teams like Red Dragon and stuff, nobody gave him a shot. And yet, instead of making probably the right decision and saying, hey, these guys are going over, and we're going to have new tag team champs in Red Dragon, what did they do instead? They kept them on Jurassic Express. So I don't think, so as much as I would like to say Starks and Hobbs should have them, or to really solidify Lee and Strickland, as, washing off the WWE stench, if you will, should have them, I think you got to go with Jurassic Express. I think you do. And I know people are going to probably say, well, if they do that, we could just hear the complaints now. Oh, Tony Khan's racist, AEW's racist. And that may be something that happens, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I think again, what's going to happen is they're going to go with, if they do decide to go with somebody, it's going to be the safe bet of of Jurassic Express, because they're a more established tag team. And if you want them to lose the belts, it's got to be in a regular tag team match, in my opinion. It's got to be a regular tag match. So I think Jurassic Express retains, and it's going to be because Hobbs, Starks, Swerve, and Lee cancel each other out. That's what I think is going to happen. And let's be honest. Let's be honest. You think Lee and Strickland want to be a tag team right now? I mean, yeah, they're good friends probably, and they're getting along. But isn't this what... But let me ask you guys this. Isn't this what Swerve was going to be put in originally in WWE, or was put in originally when he went to SmackDown in WWE? I mean, come on. People were complaining about that. I'm just saying. So, to me, my safe bet is Jurassic Express. I think they want to get the belts off Jurassic Express, but I think they want to wait to the next quarterly special to do that, if not before then. But if they take them off here, then the likely bet, in my opinion, is Lee and Strickland. That's who you do it. You want to establish them as a team, as well as, like I say, help them wash off that WWE stench. There you go. But my safe bet is going to be Jurassic Express, because right now, I think they want to wait until the time is right to pull the trigger. Now, some people are saying Christian could betray them here, and that's what cost them the belt. But where's the benefit for Christian to betray them just yet? I mean, the betrayal is coming, no doubt. But who does he side with? Does he side with Strickland and Lee, and does all three turn heel? Or does he go to Team Taz? Well, what's the benefit? Does he betray them because Jungle Boy reminds him of younger him, and he's better at it? What's the payoff? So I think Christian's betrayal is coming, but it's gonna happen when he finds somebody to be his partner to go after the tag titles. Or it's gonna happen and they're gonna use the betrayal as a catapult for him to get to the top for another shot at the AEW World title. So we'll see what they do. But my safe bet, betrayal or not, is Jurassic Express. They can still do the betrayal afterwards. And then Cage could say he's got a partner that's going to take those belts off them. So that could happen too. But that's up to them. But safe bet to me is Jurassic Express. Then we have the Anarchy in the Arena match. We have the Jericho Appreciation Society. We have Chris Jericho, Matt Mirren, Angelo Parker, Daniel Garcia, and Jake Hager against Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz, and the Blackpool Combat Club, Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. This is going to be crazy. This is essentially the hardcore match for the night. One, because they can't do a stadium stampede, and they usually like to save blood and guts for a Dynamite, for a special edition of Dynamite. But that may not be for a while, depending on what exactly David Zaslav and Kathleen Finch, the new people the new people in charge of not just Warner Media, Warner Brothers Discovery, but also Warner Media and the Turner Networks, what they have to say about that, whether or not they'd be cool with a Blood and Guts War Game match being an annual thing, being on an edition of Dynamite, or just an annual event on the TNT network. We'll have to see. But right now for the pay-per-view, this is going to be a crazy off-the-wall match. There's going to be spots in there galore. There's no doubt. It's going to be a breakout moment for the likes of Garcia, for the former Everrise, 2.0. It's going to be moments for them. It's going to be breakout moments for them. As well as, again, it's going to be another breakout performance for Kingston, for Santana and Ortiz. It's going to be a breakout moment for them. Moxley, Danielson, what more can you expect, along with Jericho? It's going to be a fun match. It's going to have all these mixtures of styles. And to me, this is going to be another breakout performance. Like I said, for some people, the one that stands out to me as this being a breakout performance will be Kingston for, his team, and Garcia for the JAS. But the question is, who goes over? Now, some people would say the more likely thing is you go with the JAS because, they just formed, You want to keep momentum behind them and stuff, and that's true. That is true. But, storyline would dictate you go with Kingston and his team. And, the Blackpool Combat Club, who just got here as well. So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting of what direction they go in. I would say for safety reasons, I would go with the JAS. I mean, I'm not going to say that the JAS is not going to win without consequence. There will be consequence, especially when it involves Jericho and Kingston. But yeah, I'm going to go with the JAS to win the Anarchy in the arena match. Because then you could use that to build to a potential blood and guts match down the line. So I'm going to go with the JAS on that one. Alright, so then we have the Women's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Final. Britt Baker, DMD against Ruby Soho. Everybody would say the safe bet is Britt Baker, seeing as though she has everything handed to her or given to her on a silver platter. That's not going to be the case here, though, because here's what I get. Let me say this. I'm happy. Let me say this, okay? I'm happy that AEW and Tony Khan are doing this with Martha Hart and the Owen Hart Foundation. I'm glad they're doing this. It's a great thing to honor Owen. But if this was any other tournament in AEW, I would say Britt Baker. But since this is about honoring the legacy of someone like Owen, I mean, you can get away with some of the other tournament matches being car crashes, being won by, nefarious means and all that. But if I was to go on a legit guess, I have to go with Ruby Soho. And I think it's going to be done clean. I don't think they're going to, have Britt cheat because, honestly, I think Martha Hart probably made a deal with him. He said, look, not him, but, okay, it's early, I do apologize, but I think Martha Hart probably, made a deal with Tony Khan when he, made this all, when they all came together for this, and probably agreed that, hey, you could do whatever you want with the rest of the tournament matches, but we get to the finals, those got to be won clean, fair, and square. So I think because of that agreement, Ruby Soho is going to win. And I think it's going to be because of a miscommunication between Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. And that's just still building the dissension between the two, which will pay off eventually with a match, I'm assuming, at either one of the summer events, Fight for the Fallen or Fyter Fest, or maybe even All Out. So I'm definitely going to go with Ruby Soho here because I just feel that when they made this happen, the agreement was do what you want with the other matches, but the finals got to be won fair and square, no BS. So I'm going to go with Ruby Soho on that one. And then for the men, we got Samoa Joe and Adam Cole. For the championship, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh are barred from ringside for this match. Again, I think because potentially they made that agreement, I'm going to go with Samoa Joe to win. I'm going to go with Samoa Joe to win this for the men's side of things. It's going to be a great match. I'm hoping they touch upon a bit of the history in NXT, but by not really acknowledging NXT, but by basically referencing it. I hope they do that. That'd be great because we almost could have got this match there. We all know that. So I'm going to go with Samoa Joe to win this matchup and advance on. Now, before I move further, I want to kind of talk about something that's been really just been tickling my mind a little bit. And I'm not saying it would happen, but I want you guys to think about this. What if, and again, I'm not saying it's going to happen because it would be totally hypocritical for it to happen, especially on this person's part, but what if, when it's all said and done, and we get the trophy presentation, we get the check presentation and all that, if Martha Hart suddenly, when she's raising the hand and maybe even hugging Tony, knees Tony right in the groin, and he goes down, that being Tony Khan. And everybody gets this reaction on the face, like, what the hell happened? And then she just walks out with the check, maybe even the trophies, who knows, but walks out. And then maybe you hear her say something like, thanks for the donation, Tony, but this will be be the last time Owen has anything to do with wrestling, period. What if something like that was to happen? Something that nobody would see coming, not something that's not scripted, not been planned, something that's legitimately out of nowhere, straight up shoot on a pay-per-view. What if that was to happen? You know, how would you feel about if that was to happen? Not saying it will, but if that was to happen. Well, I'll tell you personally, if that is something that was to occur, again, not saying it will happen, but if that is something that does happen, it doesn't make Martha Hart look any better than Vince McMahon. It makes her look like a hypocrite. And why? Because it would show that she was just using this major upcoming promotion and this naive, bright-eyed owner to just humiliate the sport of, pro wrestling. The sports entertainment of pro wrestling, if you will, to send a message that, hey, Owen's never, that this will be the last time any of us gets to see Owen associated with, or have Owen associated with anything wrestling, because she just wanted to use the stage to send a message of, we Harts are done, as far as I'm concerned, the Harts are done with you guys. This Hart family is done with wrestling. Or something. Again, I'm not saying that would happen, but it is something to kind of think about, because, she might be cool that they're doing this, but there's still a part of her that does not like pro wrestling because of what it did to Owen. So, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we'll just keep an eye out, if you will. But yeah, besides that, the winners I'm going with to win both the women's tournament and the men's tournament are Ruby and Samoa Joe. As far as MJF and Wardlow goes, there are stipulations to that. If Wardlow wins, he will be granted his release from his contract with MJF. If MJF wins, Wardlow will be permanently banned from signing with AEW. Now, some people would say that it's obvious that's going to be a squash match, and it should be. There's no doubt, because you want to make this the beginning start of Wardlow's dominance in the company. But I know some people are kind of fearful of the fact that knowing AEW and how they kind of seemed. I mean, in fact, Alex even said this in his preview on Wednesday night. He said that he didn't straight up say it, but he basically said to an extent that AEW is very similar to NXT, to where when Triple H would put on these takeover shows, most of the takeover matches would be predictable, but then there would be that one where you thought it was going to go one way, but it went another. And MJF and Wardlow, in my opinion, kind of falls into that category of it could go we're thinking it's going to go this way, but then it could go another. But I don't think that's going to be the case, though, here. I think they're going to have a good match. And again, just like I said with the Britt Baker tournament match against Ruby, I think there's going to be a miscommunication with Shawn and MJF. And basically what's going to happen is it's going to cost MJF the match. He's going to get powerbombed with a symphony of powerbombs. Wardlow's going to win. He's going to get his release. And this here will be the start of his path of destruction in AEW, which I think will lead to an AEW TNT title match against Scorpio Sky on Dynamite or Rampage, where Scorpio will lose the belt to him. That's just my opinion. Because if they go the other route and MJF wins, then what was the point of doing this? What was the point of doing this whole feud? If he's going to be permanently banned in storyline with signing with AEW, and he's got to be stuck, with MJF. What was the point? What was the point? There's none. There wouldn't be no payoff for it. Now, like I said, a lot of people are expecting it to be a squash, and it could be, but I do expect them to have a bit of a competitive match, to where in the end a miscommunication will happen and it will give Wardlow the win. So I'm expecting MJF and him to have a good match, but it's only going to last for so long before a miscommunication happens, and it gives Wardlow the win, and this kind of ends, and this kind of like begins the beginning of the end, if you will, of what's left of the pinnacle that MJF created with him, Spears, and FTR, in my opinion. But I'm going to go with Wardlow But again, it could be one of those matches where you think it's going to go that way, it could go the other. Then we have the Thunder Rosa Serena Deeb match for the AEW Women's Championship. They're definitely trying to make this as real as it could be. You had Thunder Rosa come out without the face paint on Wednesday as her, as herself, Mel, if you will, and basically states that she's going to bring the warrior out, the warrior spirit, the warrior side of her out on Sunday against Serena, and Serena's going to pay. She's going to get her ass kicked. And this is one of those other matches that Alex said, hey, you got to keep an eye out, because even though we think it could go this way, it could go that way. And it could. I mean, they have been building up Serena, decently over the past several months. There's no doubt about it. They have been building up several months, no doubt about it. But the question is, do they pull the trigger? Do they put the belt on her and make her the only woman to beat Thunder Rosa and acknowledge, I should say, her being the only woman to beat Thunder Rosa, not just for the AEW Women's Championship, but for the NWA Women's Championship. Could they do that? We'll have to see. We will have to see. But I don't really know who to go with here. I mean, if you give it to Serena Deeb, yeah, you could have Thunder Rosa chase it. But if you go with the win-loss record, who's next in line after Thunder Rosa? Or who's next in line after Serena Deeb to challenge Serena? Who's next? Do you go with Hikaru Shida, making her return? Do you go with Riho? Do you go with Emira Sakura? Who do you go with? Do you go with Ruby Soho because she won the tournament? Do you go with Britt Baker, turn her face? Who do you go with? Do you bring in Athena and she's the surprise challenger? What do you do? You see, this is where, when you look at these kind of matches, you have to really feel sorry for the people that book them, because, they know that, hey, if this person's got the momentum, we need to go with this person. But then again, this person is still very beloved by the folks. It's like, it's a toss-em. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to go with Thunder Rosa to win. I think this is the night she really comes out. Because this is her first, let's be honest, this is one of her first major title defenses on pay-per-view. Okay? This is her first major title defense on pay-per-view. In front of a big audience, huge audience. I think they got to go with Thunder Rosa. And Serena's going to get a shot. Serena will get her shot again. I think Serena, just like with Hikaru Shida, is going to lose. She's going to be mad about it, and she's going to take it out on Thunder, and she'll probably come out and say, screw the win-loss crap, I want a rematch, and she'll probably get a rematch. And if that happens, playing into her character, then I could see Serena in the rematch winning the belt. But for Double or Nothing, first big title defense for Thunder Rosa, I don't think so. I think they will have a great match. I think Thunder will win in the end. I think this is where I think Serena is going to feel like she's got it all in the bag, everything's fine, confidence gets the best of her, and she's going to either get small package or she's going to run into a Thunder Driver. Or walk right into a Thunder Driver. So yeah, I'm going to go with Thunder Rosa. But again, keep an eye out, because just like with the MJF Wardlow match, it could be something that goes the other way. Then we have Hangman Adam Page against CM Punk for the AEW World title. This is a pick-em because, here's one thing I've been noticing. Alex pointed this out with, Ruby beating Paige last night on Rampage to go to the finals of the Owen Hart tournament. He noted that the crowd booed her, but she was professional enough to handle the heat. But they booed her. Now, I don't know if they wanted her to play the heel against Chris Statlander in that match last night, or anything, but the moment she won, they booed her. And it's like, why are they turning on her now? Well, I think it's because of the fact that a lot of the AEW fans, the die-hard hardcore fans that are in Vegas for this event, or for this week leading up to Double or Nothing, they're pretty much, I guess, in their opinion, seeing the bigger picture. Like, they're starting to notice, wait a minute, these former WWE talents are getting these opportunities, major pushes over our talent? I don't think so. So them booing Ruby, in my opinion, is a sign of them sending that message. And as far as CM Punk's situation with Adam Page, both have been sharing, sharing and trading blows with each other. Both have been heelish and facious, heelish and faces, or facious, if you will, in this build-up. But the question is, who goes over? I know some people would say that CM Punk's the one that's going to go over because, storyline-wise, he's getting in Adam Page's head. But I don't think so. I think Adam Page is going to win here. I think, honestly, it's too soon to take the belt off Page. I know people have said that before. They said Revolution should have been it, or anything. Double or Nothing's definitely it. I don't think so. I don't think Page is going to lose this belt. I think, Tony Khan may have tempted, or may have said, CM Punk, Phil, we want to put the belt on you. Maybe Phil Brooks, CM Punk's real name, probably said, no, keep it on Page. He's the future. He's your guy. I'm just here to help elevate the talent, make them better than what they are. So that could happen too, but I don't know. It's a toss-up. I mean, I'd like to say CM Punk wins it, so that way he could basically have the opportunity to say that he did two things in the same building, the T-Mobile Arena, where it's going to be held. That being, he did his pipe bomb over a decade ago, and over a decade later, he won a world title. I could see that. But I don't know. It's a toss-up. But I'm going to say that I'm going to go with Page. I'm going to go with Page winning. It's not going to be a traditional buckshot lariat win. I think it's going to be a small package roll-up win. Like Punk's going to go for the GTS, maybe go into the Vice or something like that. And, Page is going to reverse it into a pinfall and win the match. I think it's going to be a simple wrestling move that helps him win the match. Now, there is the other option that I was kind of thinking about in my mind. And nobody's thought about this either. You see, Adam Page has a history with a certain faction in Japan. And that faction will be playing a big part, if you will, a big, big part in Forbidden Door, potentially. That's Bullet Club. So what if, as some people are looking at and speculating, what if this is a way to turn Page heel, and they do it by having Bullet Club help him? Like Jay White comes out of nowhere, distracts Punk, and another Bullet Club member hands Page his belt out, and as soon as Punk turns around, boom, he gets whacked. Page, referee doesn't see it. Then Page gets up, goes out of the ring, sets up for the buckshot, hits the buckshot, 1, 2, 3, and then reveals that he was in cahoots with the Bullet Club the whole time, puts up the 2 Sweet, and now Bullet Club, along with the championships they have in New Japan, now have possession of the AEW World title, courtesy of Adam Page. Just saying. That would be something that would shock people, get people talking. And again, it also touches upon and acknowledges his past affiliation with Bullet Club and believe it or not, stays true to that old saying of Bullet Club, Bullet Club for life. If you catch my drift. But yeah, I'm going to go with Adam Page, and I think it's going to be either one of two things. He's either going to win by a small package, roll-up kind of pin maneuver, or he's going to turn full heel with the assist of Bullet Club, with Jay White and then somebody else from Bullet Club, like maybe Juice Robinson, or somebody showing up to help him beat CM Punk. And then you have more of a reason to do the rematch at Forbidden Door, if you want to do it, between Punk and Adam Page, and that would be the place to put the belt on Punk, at Forbidden Door in his hometown. So I look at it this way. He loses here in Vegas, but he gets another shot at becoming champion, and winning the title in his hometown. Because, yeah, it'd be great if he walks in there as the champ, not a problem, but how much better it would be in front of his hometown to be the champion, to win the title. Just like he did 10 years ago at Money in the Bank, almost exactly 10 years ago when he did it at Money in the Bank in his hometown. Think about that. So, that's pretty much what I see happening. I see Page winning, either by clean pinfall, either by clean roll-up pinfall, simple wrestling move pinfall, or by going heel, which would be able to Punk getting a rematch at the end of the month in his hometown, where he would win it 10 years after he won the WWE Championship in his hometown. Just think about that. Think about it. I think it'd be more simple if they go that route. And either scenario of how Page retains, I think, works for me and anybody else. You go the latter, it puts Bullet Club back on a bigger stage than what they are, and I say it with all due respect, than they are right now with Impact Wrestling here on the American side of things outside of Japan. So yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Page winning. Again, how it's done, works either way to get us to Forbidden Door, where the rematch will take place more than likely. Or at least get us to the Chicago area for Forbidden Door and the events leading to that or after that in the United Center that gets us that Punk moment. But that's really all I can say, guys. That's all I can say on my predictions for AEW Double or Nothing tomorrow night, Sunday, May 29th in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. Thank you all for watching. Live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Super thanks will be enabled after the